Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to welcome in Aquarius season. Um, we are moving, the sun is moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius today, January 19th. And Aquarius always has a special place in my heart. That's a big part of my chart. My sun sits in the house of Aquarius. My Saturn is in Aquarius. Those two aspects just alone make it a really big part of who I am. So I identify with this quite a bit. So let's take it down to basics. Capricorn was an earth sign. Think mountains, rocks, trees, like fixed structures that lay foundation. It's pragmatic. Yeah, that's the earth energy. And then Aquarius is an air sign. I always thought it was a water sign because the root of Aquarius is water. But Aquarius is an air sign. So think lightning, wind, electricity. So the speed of the energy that will be with us throughout this whole month today, January 19th through February 18th, will just be a little bit faster. And not only is the sun moving into Aquarius, but we also have Mercury in Aquarius going retrograde. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. So energy will be a little bit speedier, a little bit more electrified. Probably feel more inclined to do the social things, whether that is like more phone calls or text messages or emails to people. Will have more of a tendency to do things like that. Words that come to mind when I think of Aquarius are contrary, eccentric, kind of rebellious, intellectual, detached, more head than heart, genius, unpredictable, very future-oriented, innovative, networks, and stubborn. So people that have strong Aquarius in their chart, in the natal chart, like when they were born, typically stand out. Like they were born in this world at this time with that birthday to stand out. They're usually easy to spot because they march to the beat of their own drum. So a couple of famous people that are Aquarius or have a lot of Aquarius in their chart are Martin Luther King, Michael Jordan, Abe Lincoln, Yoko Ono, FDR, Ronald Reagan, Bob Marley. That's just a couple. There's a whole bunch of people that have Aquarius in their chart. But there's a couple I want to talk about specifically. Martin Luther King is one that we all recognize. And I'm not sure what part of his chart, if it was the moon or the sun or Mercury or Saturn, that are in Aquarius. But if we think about what Martin Luther King did, he wasn't as much of like a rebellious or eccentric person compared to some of the others, Yoko Ono, Bob Marley, but he was in the system. He was a part of the system. He was a reverend, so he was integrated into society. He wasn't like pushing back and fighting against everything. However, he's incredibly innovative. He saw a system that was not working, that was broken, that needed to be repaired, and he spoke to it. You know, the whole I have a dream thing, he was talking about the future, what he envisions for the world. And that is super, super Aquarius. One of my aunts has like 3 or 4 planets in Aquarius. And she's always 5 steps ahead. And a lot of times she can finish my sentence for me before I can. Like, she's so fast and so future oriented. So if you have any friends or your family members or you know anyone that kind of shakes things up a little bit, or they're filling in your sentences for you, or they're like future pacing, they're like 5 steps ahead, they may have some strong Aquarius influence in their chart. Yoko Ono too, like there was some Beatles documentary on Disney Plus recently, and Yoko Ono was in that. She was so weird. I don't know if you've ever heard her sing before, but it sounds like yowling cats. And like, she was so out there. I was like, what the heck is this woman doing? Aquarius. Bob Marley, Aquarius. He was like, peace and love, unity. Like that's kind of not really the way the world is structured, or at least the US, with all of our opposing sides, and they're wrong and these people are stupid and these people have their heads up their asses. Bob Marley was more of a one love, a unity kind of a idealist, maybe. So that's just kind of the feel of the season that we're getting into. This is a really good month, a really good set of 30 days to open to the idea of eccentric thinking or thinking outside of the box. Maybe by examining conventional ideas that you've had for a really long time. Examine those things from an objective standpoint, almost like you're an alien looking in with no prior knowledge to anything. If you were completely foreign to the topic and you peered in, like, would you still feel the same way about it? During Aquarius season, we'll collectively all be more inclined to make waves and stand up for what we believe in, to grow stronger in our convictions. And Aquarius is a fixed sign, so there is an element of like really stubborn energy here. So just notice that within yourself as we move through these days. Are you feeling stubborn? Are you feeling like holding on to your viewpoint or your perspective? And we're more willing to be mocked for our beliefs or persecuted for our beliefs. This is a really good time to educate yourself, to spread what you're learning, to tell your friends, to tell your family, to talk about the information that you're taking in. And it's a good time to learn the truth, to learn your truth, and then give it out to the world freely. And kind of like, no matter what anyone says, just do it. Who really knows anyway? Now all of that, so that will just be with us throughout this month. For the next 30 days, we're going to have some of those themes. So I encourage you to look for those as you move through your days. And then let's talk about the retrograde. So I'd like to demystify Mercury retrograde just a little bit. Mercury retrograde is when, from our viewpoint here on Earth, it looks like Mercury is moving backwards in the sky. And really, that's just an illusion. Mercury does not change directions in the sky. It just appears to. I feel like the internet has really run away with Mercury retrograde, and it's really fun. I love seeing the different memes and jokes that people make about retrograde season. Some of them have a small element of truth to them. Some of them are just purely funny. But the retrograde is exactly like January 14th through February 3rd. Those are the exact dates. And then beyond that is the Mercury shadow. So because it's not like, boom, Mercury goes retrograde and that's when the energy is felt. It's more like how the moon gradually builds up to full and then it gradually builds down to new. So the shadow around Mercury retrograde is December 29th, February 24th. So just keep those dates in mind. Everything should kind of be back to normal. February 24th. In terms of Mercury, I think that the world is still probably not going to be normal, but whatever. So opportunities that arise during Mercury retrograde, I always like to say that it is really a time to do all of the words. So retrograde starts with re. The root word re means again. So re-evaluate, re-examine, revisit, all of those kinds of things. It's like a calendar marker that the universe set out and said, okay, it's time to stop for a second. It's time to slow down for a second. Don't make any major business decisions. Don't buy a car or sell your house, whatever. And of course, if you decide to do those things, that's okay. Just make sure that you really go through all the fine details. Okay, yeah, so we stop, we reevaluate, and we slow down, and because our world moves really freaking fast, and when everything is really fast and we have to go here and then be here, and we have to get gas, and we have to make sure we pay our bills, and we have to make sure we take a bath and eat our food and drink our water and sleep, how we fit everything in all the time I don't quite understand. So this time it's like a little flag on the calendar that says, hey, like, stop, reevaluate, because when we're going fast all the time, we don't have time for critical thinking. We don't have as much time for like self-awareness and for analysis of what we're doing and making sure that we're not just flying from A to B to C to D for no good reason. So Mercury, the planet itself, represents our mind, thought process, communication, organization, intellect, and mindset. When Mercury is retrograde, it's a time to reevaluate, rewire, reflect. It's a time to pause, to re-examine, why do you think the thoughts you think? Like, really, truly. When something bothers you, something happened today. I was driving and someone almost hit the front of my car, did not signal, and immediately I just got so mad. And knowing that Mercury retrograde is happening, I thought, why did I let that raise my blood pressure? Why did I let myself think really mean thoughts? Why is that my first reaction when someone does that to me when I'm driving? And it doesn't, it can be anything. It can be, well, am I really hungry now, or is it just dinner time? I don't know. Those are some silly examples, but just questioning your thought process and wondering why. Where did this come from? Did I learn this from my family or my childhood? Did I learn this from school? Did I learn it from church? Did I learn it from my friends or social media? Oh my goodness. Where do your thoughts come from? We have so many thoughts every single day. I think it's like 60,000 or something. And a lot of them are repeated from the day before. And so if we've all just had these repeated thoughts for years and years and years and years, it's easy to see why people get so stuck in certain lines of thinking. So now's the time to reflect on it, shake it up, and kind of shed the things that maybe you didn't give permission to be there, Maybe they're just things that you've carried with you all the way from the time you were 7 years old, or all the way from the time that you were 15. We have a really good, just a beautiful potential to experience a more innovative and evolved way of perceiving reality. That's very Aquarius themed kind of a thing. So be curious about your perception, why you think the way you do, why you react the way you do, and what it means what reality means, what it means to be here at this time on this planet and everything that's going on around us. Something that is really important to note is Mercury will pass over Pluto, the tiny little powerful ass planet of transformation, regeneration, destruction, and creation. So our mental bodies are going to pass through this really big transformative window. That's a lot. That only happens probably like once a year, I would say. Pluto is intense. It is when Mercury and Pluto are together in the sky, like they will be. I think it's earlier in February when they'll actually be really close to each other in the chart. It offers transformation around thoughts and communication. That just sounds so exciting to me. That sounds like a really wicked opportunity to explore more parts of ourselves and to learn more about our world, our experience, our consciousness, and some of those like Aquarian themes. Because of the intensity, however, this aspect it often comes along with periods of really deep mental reflection. Pluto wants to get to the bottom of things. It wants to go like all the way under the surface, down to the root. And it can lend itself to a really deeply probing mind, which on the low, so everything that we go through has I mean, it's kind of all a double-edged sword. There are really positives and really negatives, and we try to find the place in the middle. Whether it's with the planets or with water, you can drink way too much water, you can drink way not enough water. We want to be somewhere in the middle. Same with sleep, same with food, same with exercise. So some of these lessons that are waiting for us, we can get really low, really depressed, really struggle. We can get really on the opposite end of that spectrum and find like a passionate, probing mind that's really curious. And still, we want to be somewhere kind of in the middle. So with all of this going on, we may be subject to mental struggles. We may struggle with obsession that is trapped in a shadow that needs to be healing. So different things that we obsess on or fixate over that are kind of concealed. Maybe we don't realize that we're so trapped or so fixated or so obsessed with that thing. Can reflect destructive communication, dogma, or aggression. And that's more of the low road. That's more of when, if you notice that you're getting in any of those places, we stop and just become aware of what you're doing. The higher road is it will highlight like passionate curiosity, a probing mind with deep inquiry into emotional motivations. So if at any point you feel the low end, if you feel depressed, if you feel scared, if you feel paranoid, if you feel out of control, it's really important to stick to the self-care practices of getting into your body, of resting, of getting yourself out into nature somehow, of drinking your water, of lighting your candles and getting your rocks out and doing the things that remind you that you are right here, right now, and that even the lows come with tremendous gifts. This is the time with Aquarius season and Mercury retrograde in Aquarius to explore what kind of world you want to live in. Like, what's the most ideal? What is your ideal reality? And as we reflect on those things, when Mercury stations direct in February, then we can start to implement small steps in order to get there. So I hope that this clears up any questions you've had around Mercury retrograde. I hope you have a lovely Aquarius season. And if you feel like sharing anything, just drop it in the comments. Have a wonderful day.